The walkway was lined with monstrously large candy canes. Gumdrops were scattered across the gingerbread walls. Chocolate balconies overlooked the garden, and a chimney in the shape of an ice cream cone poked out of the sugar-frosted roof. You could get lost exploring the gnome village, all those rustic huts and leering faces. Eventually, you arrived at Old MacDonald's farm, which was a petting zoo with rabbits, goats, pigs, ducks, sheep, you name it. If you wanted, you could even hitch a ride in Cinderella's pumpkin coach. Of course, employees were dressed up everywhere you looked. Alice, Sleeping Beauty, Red Riding Hood, Tom Thumb, even Mother Goose herself. It was a living tribute to the imagination. You have to understand something before Phantasia Forest came along. Theme parks didn't exist back then. You were lucky to find a few kiddie parks here and there, but frankly, they weren't much. Some old merry-go-rounds, a couple of dusty ponies, and a bunch of picnic tables covered in bird crap. That was it. Phil Buller dreamed of something bigger. Phil was a local businessman, owned a few different stores around town. Everyone seemed to know Phil. Everyone loved him. Every town probably has a Phil Ballard. The upstanding citizen, always quick with a smile and a handshake. Kathleen, his wife, was like that too. She came from a prominent family and spent a lot of her time volunteering, working with charities, hosting fundraisers. I remember my parents going to a few of those. All in all, Phil and Kathleen were the perfect couple. They had money, friends. The only thing they were missing was a little bundle of joy to call their own. It took him a while, but Phil managed to secure 20 acres of land just off the highway. In a year, he had a park dedicated to all the classic fairy tales and nursery rhymes. The place was an instant hit. I remember the crowds of tourists. I'd never seen so many out-of-town license plates before. We must have had thousands of visitors that summer. It was a huge boost to the local economy. The hotels and restaurants all cleaned up. Newspapers were mentioning us all over the country. If Phil was a hero before Phantasia Forest, then he was a downright saint afterwards. There was a rumor that a fellow by the name of Walt Disney had dropped by for an afternoon, looking to find some inspiration for his own little park. I'm not sure if that story was really true or not, but it should be. Reverie. Whoever could it be at this time of night? Annoyed, she proceeded to ignore the knocks and continue sketching, as this was the only burst of inspiration she had received all day. The pony would go away eventually. Whoever it was, she could not afford to lose this design. Whoever this person is, they are certainly very determined to speak to me, Rarity thought as the knocking increased in both frequency as well as sound. Very well, as I can no longer concentrate with this ruckus, I shall go and give them a piece of my mind. With that, she stood up and proceeded to the stairs, only to stop as the realization came to her. It's the middle of the night, and there's a heavy snowfall outside. Who would go through the snow and come all the way here amidst the freezing cold? The knock sounded again, and despite the twisting and turning in her gut, she made her way to the door and opened it just enough for her to peek out. No one was there. Sighing in frustration, the fashionista slammed the door shut and groaned internally, cursing whoever had played such a trick on her. Sun ponies, she huffed before heading back upstairs to return to her work. But just as her hoof touched the first step, she heard that infernal knocking start again and stormed over to the door to check who was there. Yet again, it was no one. Swearing under her breath, the unicorn decided to quickly have a look outside to catch the perpetrator. There was not a single living thing in sight. Rarity slammed the door shut, and no sooner than she had turned around, a very quiet knock was heard. Her eyebrow twitched, and she pulled the door open, lighting her horn. Whoever is there, reveal yourself! If immortality is such a curse, I'd be happy to do you a favor. Twilight just rolled her eyes. How many times have I heard that line before? Nearer was a coat, a unicorn, and a student of the School of Friendship. Above all, though, he had been Spring Breeze's friend. But now Spring Breeze was gone, disappeared into the night, and it seemed only Nero cared enough to actually investigate. Nero and Abathia, of course, who sat on the coat's head in the form of a cockroach. "Do you smell that?" the Abathia commented as the crude smell of magic wafted through the door. "She might be busy. Are you sure she wants to be disturbed right now?" "This is important, Abathia. Now, change back. Changelings are supposed to shape change in front of teachers." "Nah," the changeling dismissed as he crawled onto Nero's snout and did a little dance. "Starlight will know it's me. Besides, I think she likes my antics." "If you say so." Nervously, Nero knocked on the door. The sound of his hoof on the wood was loud and clear, and it hung in the air for far too long in the silence that followed. "Maybe she's not here," Nero concluded. "Nope, I saw her come this way earlier. She's definitely here." Then the door opened, and Nero found himself face to face with Princess Twilight. She was massive, twice as tall as any normal pony, and adored with shiny regalia. And on her flank was a singular six-pointed star. It was alone. Despite her disheveled hair, she still looked regal, and when their eyes met, Nero made certain to greet her. "Never forget you." Bonbon grips Lyra's hoof tightly, and a silence fills the air. I feel like a stranger at moments like these. I shouldn't be here. In this case, Lyra shouldn't be here. None of this should have ever happened. I'm the background character in the worst moment of two ponies' lives. "Okay," Bonbon whispers. "I'm ready now." I nod, knowing she won't see. My hoof trembles as I reach for the switch on the machine. I wasn't even supposed to work this shift tonight. My job was supposed to be helping ponies, not this. I grit my teeth. I murder Lyra heartstrings. The machine flatlines, and I turn the machine off to mute that horrid sound. Bonbon's sobbing continues. I take the clipboard with charts and medical history beside Lyra's bed. "I'll just be down the hall if you need anything." My footsteps are quick and silent like the assassin I am, the horror I am. Tears stream from my eyes as I leave. Bloody hoof prints down the hall. I slam myself into the nearest room and flip through her charts, looking for what is there. My bloody dagger, the smoking gun. I stop. The clipboard and I are the only inhabitants of this dark, secluded world. 1 week ago, a patient visited the hospital. As the busiest pony in the day, flew like symptoms prescribed a flu medication.